Did you know there was once a beer called Watney's Red Barrel? This pint became so iconic that it shaped an entire era of British pub nights, before quietly disappearing from the taps like an old friend no one talks about anymore. In this video, we're looking at 5 classic UK beers, plus a few bonus mentions, brews that were once cult favourites but are now genuine rarities. And through their rise and fall, we'll uncover what their disappearance says about shifting tastes, lost breweries, and the changing fabric of Britain's drinking culture. If you remember enjoying one of these at your local after a long week, or cracking one open with your mates during a big match, hit like, subscribe, and let's step back in time together. Watney's Red Barrel. There was a time when you couldn't step into a pub without spotting that bright red pump handle pouring Watney's Red Barrel. Brewed in London by Watney, Combe and Reed, it became the face of British keg beer throughout the 1960s and 70s. It wasn't just something to drink, it represented modern beer. Originally launched in the 1930s, Red Barrel truly took off after the Second World War. It was among the first British beers to be pasteurised and kegged, meaning it could travel farther and last longer. That allowed it to be served everywhere: working men's clubs, canteens, seaside resorts, without the unpredictability of traditional cask ale. It became a rare thing for its time, a true national brand. As for flavour, that depends who you ask. It was malty, gently sweet, with a smooth, almost flat mouthfeel. Built for consistency, not complexity. Mild, easygoing, and approachable. Perfect for a worker after a shift or couples heading out to the dance hall. It wasn't meant to impress. It was meant to reassure. The Red Barrel logo became instantly recognisable. The adverts were playful. Whether you were in Manchester or Margate, someone you knew was probably drinking it. Your dad, your uncle, maybe even you. It embodied Britain's industrial confidence: sleek, uniform, dependable. But eventually, the very qualities that made it successful turned against it. In 1971, Campaign for Real Ale, better known as CAMRA, was founded in part as a response to beers like Red Barrel. Drinkers began seeking character and craftsmanship over convenience. By the late 70s, Red Barrel was phased out and replaced by Watney's Special, an attempt to win back critics. It never quite managed it. Soon, Red Barrel was gone, remembered mostly by those who lived through its peak. Yet for many, the sight of that Red Barrel still sparks memories: smoky pubs, vinyl booths, laughter beneath fluorescent lights. It was never the most refined pint, but it was steady, familiar, a piece of the past you could hold in your hand. Double Diamond Burton Pale Ale. A double diamond works wonders. If you watched television in the 60s or 70s, you almost certainly heard that slogan. Brewed in Burton-upon-Trent by Ind Coop, Double Diamond Burton Pale Ale became one of Britain's best-selling beers. First appearing in the late 19th century, it became especially popular in keg form by the 1950s. Light amber in colour, softly carbonated, and low in bitterness, it was easy on the palate. Though labelled a pale ale, its sweet, smooth, slightly buttery profile made it feel like something in between styles. It found favour with urban professionals, but was just as common in working men's clubs and suburban lounges. This was the aspirational everyman's pint. The man who'd finished his shift, changed into a clean shirt, and was ready for the evening. You didn't rush a double diamond, you savoured it. The advertising played a huge role in its rise: bold, memorable, confident. It gave the beer a modern, almost cosmopolitan aura. From Liverpool to London, it poured in pubs across the country. And yet, beneath the branding, its appeal was simple. It was accessible. But as the 1980s arrived, tastes shifted. Lager surged in popularity. Traditional cask ales made a comeback. Suddenly, Double Diamond's safe, smooth character felt uninspiring. By the 2000s, it lingered only in select venues before fading away completely. Though revival attempts have appeared over the years, the original experience never truly returned. Still, That slogan brings it all rushing back for some. The scent of cigarette smoke in wool coats, jukebox fizz in the background, and the clink of glasses in a snug corner. Double Diamond didn't just work wonders, it worked its way into a generation's memory. King and Barnes Old Ale. If you grew up in Sussex or Surrey, you probably knew the name King and Barnes. And if you ever tasted their old ale, you'll remember it wasn't just beer, it felt like home. Brewed in Horsham, King and Barnes Old Ale was dark, full-bodied, and deeply loyal to its local following. Chestnut in colour, rich with treacle notes, toasted malt, and gentle roast bitterness. It balanced sweetness with a dry finish. Thy S was a pint to take your time with. It appealed especially to regulars and traditionalists who valued classic English brewing. Not flashy, not loud, just honest and comforting. Perfect for a quiet corner table or a slow Sunday after walking the South Downs. King and Barnes had brewed beer since the 1800s, and their old ale became part of the fabric of Horsham life. But consolidation swept through the industry. In 2000, the brewery was sold, and the original site closed. The old ale disappeared soon after. For many locals, this wasn't just losing a drink, it was losing a landmark. Even now, former fans describe the smooth pour, the rich aroma, the warmth in the glass. Ask someone from Horsham about it, and you might see a fond smile, tinged with loss. Some beers don't just vanish from taps, they fade from rituals, from routines, from memory. Stone's Bitter. Stone's Bitter was more than a pint. It was a symbol of Sheffield itself. Brewed at the Cannon Brewery from 1948, it became tied to the identity of the working class north. Miners, steelworkers, everyday blokes. This was their beer. Golden, clean, gently dry, with a subtle malt backbone and restrained hop finish. Enough flavour to satisfy, never enough to overwhelm. It was made for rounds, pint after pint as darts flew and stories grew louder. You didn't order Stones to make a statement. You ordered it because it was yours. By the 1980s, it had national reach after being acquired by Bass, becoming one of the UK's top-selling bitters. But growth came at a cost. Production moved. Ownership shifted. The flavour changed. The Cannon Brewery closed in 1999. By 2011, the original cask version was gone. What remained was a canned echo of what had once been, present, but missing its heart. Whitbread Pale Ale. For decades, Whitbread Pale Ale was the dependable pint that quietly accompanied everyday life. Brewed by Whitbread, one of Britain's brewing giants, it was a staple from the mid-20th century through the 1980s. Light golden in colour, mildly malty, with gentle bitterness, what we'd now call a session beer. This was the Saturday afternoon pint with your dad while fixing the shed, the bottle brought out at family gatherings, the light and bitter mixed at the bar. It lined shop shelves and sat in kitchen cupboards across the country. It wasn't special occasion beer, it was routine. A cold one after mowing the lawn, a steady pint in the corner pub, a quiet clink of glasses in the factory canteen. But by the late 80s, drinkers wanted bold craft flavours or flashy lagers. Bottled pale ales began to feel dated. As industry consolidation continued, Whitbread Pale Ale quietly disappeared. No fanfare, no grand farewell. Yet those who remember it do so warmly. It was background music to everyday life, not the headline act, but essential all the same. Bonus mentions. A few more lost legends deserve a nod. Courage Imperial Russian Stout, once brewed for Russian Tsars, gone by the 1990s. Charrington Toby Ale, famous for its Toby jug label, once a London staple. Younger's No. 3, a robust Scottish strong ale, quietly retired. Whitbread Light Ale, a lunchtime favourite, often paired with bitter in pubs. And that wraps up today's journey down memory lane. If you enjoyed this nostalgic pint with us, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your own memories in the comments below. Cheers, and we'll see you next round.